Thank you very much to Samarito for rejoining as a member of the Kinetic Rugby League channel, and thank you very much to Brian Fisher for becoming a new member of the channel as well. If you'd like to support the work that I do, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. But let's get on with the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kinetic Rugby League channel. Unfortunately, you are stuck with the voice again today because I was recording with the camera and this occurred. Kicking things off, we have the Salford Red Devils taking on Hull Kingston Rovers. Starting with form, Salford have only won 1 in their last 5. Hull KR have won 3 in their last 5. Now, firstly, with... Are you taking... Are you having a giggle? Are you having a giggle? So, as I was saying, Salford have won 1 in their last 5. Hull KR have won 3 in their last 5. Both teams will really appreciate a break. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's no major news around the Salford squad, so I believe they'll be bringing a similar side to last round, which, versus Leeds, actually did a pretty good job. They did a brilliant job, actually, in that first half, especially Murphy, firstly, looked like a hell of a player. The forwards competed really well. They created chances. They made life really tough for Leeds in that first half. The second half wasn't so good. The sin bin, of course, didn't help, and that helped to get things rolling a bit for Leeds, but in that first half they looked like a really competent, really confident, really clear side in how they wanted to go about their business. Hull KR played Catalans last round, which wasn't the most exciting fixture, but KR looked quite comfortable for most of it. They allowed what felt like 0 major yards from carries or breaks. It felt like KR won basically every major battle through the middle and just built that constant pressure over time. For this game, I think Salford will be able to compete in patches of the game, whether that be through the middle, whether that be defending out wide or creating decent chances out wide, getting decent meters when they spread the ball. I think that will come in patches. But to be able to do that over 80 minutes, I think is going to be very, very difficult to do. I think if they do have that core group of players in there that have been what's felt like ever present for Salford this season, even with the issues that they've had, they will have some stability and they'll have an idea of what they want to do throughout the course of the game, but I think they'll only really be able to execute it in patches, as I've said. But with KR getting a week off, of course Salford have, but with KR, they now have a forward pack that is so damaging already, that has had that extra week off, that should be really fresh up front. I don't think they'll have too much difficulty in terms of gaining field position, and off the back of that pressure, I think they can really put points on the board. So I don't think it'll be a case of Salford being wide open inside KR's own half or inside the midfield. I think KR might, of course, find breaks in those areas because they're such a great team when they move the ball around. But that's not really their style. They will stick to a game plan. They'll keep kicking towards the corners and they'll build the constant pressure by gaining more and more field position, more and more territory, set by set by set. And they'll just keep doing that. So I don't think it'll be a case of just constantly putting points up from anywhere on the field. Salford will really make them work for it because they will find that energy. For a big game like this, they will find that energy to really compete through the middle. But I think over time, KR may concede a try or two. I'll give Salford the benefit of the doubt and say that with some of the regulars in there, they'll have those combinations. They found ways to get some points against Leeds. Possibly could have had more as well. I think maybe they'll get some against KR because they've had a slight dip over the last few weeks. Obviously, they look fine against Catalans, but KR should be fine for me and should be fairly comfortable on the scoreboard. So for a prediction in this one, I'm going to go with Salford Red Devils 12, Hull Kingston Rovers 36. Next up, we have St Helens taking on the Castleford Tigers. Start with form, Saints have won 4 in their last 5, Cass have only won 1 in their last 5. We all know that the major issue for Saints this season is their attack. They don't exactly look slow in possession, but they can look quite predictable and sometimes disconnected when trying to move the ball around. I think sometimes they rely on individual plays out wide. They want one of the back rowers or someone in the back line to create a moment from nowhere. I don't think they've really got the firepower for that, to just give someone the ball and say, you go do something. That's the kind of player that you want, Wellesby to be when obviously he's been fit this season. It's what you want Saylor to be. It's what you want Lomax to be and possibly Whitby in the years to come. But they're asking individuals to do a lot of solo work themselves, which I just don't think they've got the guys for out wide at the moment. So that's something that they're relying on right now, and that doesn't help. Now, we do know that Cass have been a poor defensive side this year, but in the last 3 weeks, they have improved week by week in terms of points conceded. They started with 30, that went down to 22, and then went down to 14 last time out. Given that Saints don't look that good in attack, it might mean that Cas can hold on for a while, a little bit like Hull FC did a few weeks ago against St Helens. And in Saints' last 3, they've scored only 4, 6 and 13. So it has gone down in their last 3. Now, I don't think it will automatically mean that Saints will score even less than what they did last time out against Leigh, which was 4 points. But to me, it at least indicates, with Cas improving defensively in the last 3 weeks, Saints dropping offensively in the last 3 weeks, I think it might just mean Cas would only concede a reasonable amount of points. I don't think it automatically means 0 points conceded. I just think it means they can keep it within a reasonable range. But Cas have also been improving when it comes to the battle through the middle, which is Saints' best asset, by the way. Now, assuming that Walmsley is all good to go for this one, this could be a decent battle. I still lean towards Saints with or without him, but just because Saints have a lot more impact and they can slow down the ruck more, I think I'd lean more towards St Helens for the battle through the middle. But Cas so far, over the last few weeks and probably months at this point, they have looked a lot better in terms of slowing down the ruck, making more meters through the middle. I don't really think I've noticed many more offloads, if I'm honest. I think Stimson makes an effort to really get the ball off for a second phase. He's been a good addition, so is Singleton and Amon especially as well. So they do look a lot stronger, a lot bigger through the middle. But against this Saints pack, it's going to be difficult. But I think with the improvements they've been making, they could make it a decent contest in parts throughout this game. Now, while I do think that Cas will look okay in this one, you know, with Assie's run game improving too as well, he's done a great job over the last few weeks. I do think it's a case of, first of all, Saints being better up front with the impact they've got, the size, the sheer quality in the forwards. I think their kicking game and kick chase is usually pretty good as well. But Saints' defence, that's the best thing. Across these two teams, the best thing across these teams is St Helens' defence, which was second best before the round started. I think that should be quite comfortable this week, especially because Cas have a lot of work to do inside the red zone. Cas can move the ball around inside their own half or inside the midfield. They can create opportunities, create line breaks, but I don't think Saints will allow too many because that defence is as strong as it is. The amount of work rate, the amount of quality they have defensively isn't matched by many others in the league. There are some that can do it on off games, but Saints have been doing it pretty consistently for a good few months at this point. So I think on the defensive side of things, they'll be fine. But like I said earlier, Cas could make the points conceded slightly reasonable and maybe be able to stay in the game for a while. Who knows, maybe do something by the back end of it. But for a prediction, I'm going to go with St Helens 20, Castleford Tigers 10. Finally for this round, we have the Leigh Leopards taking on the Warrington Wolves. Starting with form, Leigh have won 4 in their last 5, winning 3 in a row, and Warrington have won 3 in their last 5. Now with Warrington, in at least the last 6 weeks, they haven't looked convincing, aside from probably a few weeks back against Hull FC at home. Now Leigh's 3 wins in a row are versus Wigan, Hull KR and Saints. Before that, they'd beaten Catalans and Wakefield. The only recent loss was against Leeds, but they still put up 30 points. So just looking at form, looking at performances, looking at results, Leigh are on fire at the moment, and that's why, of course, they're currently top of my power rankings. Now, Wyatt are looking really predictable with the ball recently. Even when they're expansive, it's either slow, disjointed, or again, predictable. Leigh's edges are also very reliable in defence, so I'm not sure how much success Warrington are going to have moving towards the edges. Then we get to the forwards. Leigh's forwards are mobile and competing with the best packs in the league, and Warrington do not have one of them. Usually Warrington do show up for the big games though. That is a positive about this side this year. Even though there's not many to look at, it has felt that they can show up for the big occasions. Whether it be the Challenge Cup final, I think Warrington showed up for that. Whether it be the 3 games against Saints this year, they were considered the underdogs for all 3 games and they showed up. Whether it be the league match against Leigh, I think Leigh were clearly in control for that one. But Warrington at least made it competitive enough, even given the major changes they had to deal with. Danny Walker was playing in the halves in that game. But then you look at the semi-final in the Challenge Cup against Leigh, they showed up to that one and put in a great shift. So when it comes to the big occasions, and again this does feel like one, Warrington, they can find the energy. They can do. But of course, Leigh do have the advantage up front, and they've conceded 4 points, 10 points and 8 points in the last 3 weeks. Now, given they're up against a Wyatt attack that doesn't look that good right now, I think Leigh's defence might look pretty comfortable this week. And then you look at some of the attacking threats that Leigh have as well, in Lamb and O'Brien in the halves. Hodgson, with how well he's doing at fullback, looking so reliable. You got Niu on one side in the back line, Hanley on the other side of the back line. They are looking so creative in the backs. And defensively, Hanley and Niu, they've been so solid defensively. The carries out the backfield as well. Everything about those backs for Leigh just seems to be working. And that's off the back of an incredible platform that the forwards are laying for them. Those mobile forwards that can get those quick play the balls, get those post-contact meters because they're so difficult to bring down. They've got that speed behind them as well. Even given their size, they've got that speed behind them. The likes of Liu, Mulhern, Trout, Offen, Gowie, possibly one of the signings of the season, are doing such a great job. I do really think the forward pack could dominate for Leigh this week. Might be very difficult for Warrington to get any points. I do think they'll get some, because the way I'm imagining this is, I think maybe the first 10-15 minutes Warrington might be in the game, but as there's more rotations in the forwards, Leigh are going to be stronger up front. I think they'll start to pull away. Warrington will drop off and they'll be a little bit too predictable again, and it might just be the last 10-15 minutes. Warrington, behind by too many points, will just start being expansive, start being creative, and maybe find a try or two towards the end. We'll see. But I'm going to go with Leigh Leopards 30, Warrington Wolves 12. So there you have my Super League Round 20 Week 2 predictions. As always, if you guys have your own predictions, please do let me know in the comments section down below. And if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It does help to get the video out there to more people. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Kinetic Rugby League content. If you'd like to become a member, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.